water, earth, fire, and green. Basically today, Tokyo lived in harmony. Then everything changed when some guy in a Skeletor mask attacked. Only Aikido, master of a bunch of friggin' weird handgun magic, could stop him. But when the world did not need him most, he died. About 10 seconds later, he was discovered and revived through possession by a professional TV ghost hunter named KK. And although he is one cocky son of a gun, he has a lot to learn before he's ready to sloop up people's souls. But I believe that Aikido will pet all the dogs in Tokyo. But before any of that, do you know that moment when you're just out for a rip with the Master Chief in your Corvette Stingray 2021 and the thought pops into your mind, man, I wish I could just slap some flamethrowers on this thing and then murder a bunch of like-minded psychopath drivers without facing prison time? Well, with Crossout Mobile you can, especially the prison time part. Crossout is a free-to-play vehicle combat-based shooter in a post-apocalyptic world for both Android and iOS. You can practically make anything into a death machine and just slap it out in the field of battle to more than likely get completely demolished. The Crossout makes dying mostly fun, because when you get shot at, every single piece of your duct tape together joyride can be severed off, kind of like your communication with the outside world once this game consumes your life. Not only that, but if you've built yourself a vehicle that seems to last slightly longer than everyone else's, you can share that blueprint to the world, and boom, you practically have an engineer's license. Or mechanics. Or just the loving gratitude of some Redditors, which is significantly less cool. So use that link in the description to download Crossout for yourself on either Android or Apple devices, and enter the code Kevduit to get yourself some new starter bonuses. I awoke that fateful day to two realizations. First off, the moon is actually red, and second, I'm a horrible taxi driver. It looked like I might have been the only survivor of the crash, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is what I call a victory royale. I asked some strangers for help, but for some reason, an appropriate response. Well, the situation wasn't looking real pretty, but it just kept piling on the plastic surgery. Remember, secondhand smoke doesn't just kill you, it vaporizes you. Get it? Vape joke? I then learned that our clothes have souls. I tried to leave the area, but Slenderman tried to steal my fanny pack. Well, where I come from, the fanny pack is just an extension of our body, so I murdered them. And I found out that you can parry Slenderman and assassinate him. With that, I grabbed some filing cabinet groceries, but I was immediately stopped by some thing. I quickly found out it was a Redditor's dream come true, so I punched it in the cape and shattered its heart. All those years of Cat's Cradle finally paying off. Soon after, I encountered the spirit of a young Christian man trying to impress all the girls after a church potluck. Chris Evans was here too, and he was angry. After my possessee tried to confront Skull-Lord, I had had enough of these shenanigans, so I bull rushed him, immediately got stabbed, chained, stared at, Jedi mind tricked, and then stabbed again. Well, getting stabbed sucks, so I decided just to lay down and pretend like none of my problems existed, like healthy people do. Then KK got jealous of my fanny pack and tried to steal it, which, well, obviously it absorbed his soul. I then awoke with a fright at night, tight as a kite, that might right the sight to smite the blight into light, alright? I checked to see if I had grown a beard, but I hadn't. So I checked harder. Then I punched a tricycle. Well, the city was looking a little worse for wear, and by that I did mean there were clothes all over the floor, but I was making the best of it by looting everyone's garbage. Turns out I looted Slenderman's garbage, and that guy hates me, so I did kill him, and I destroyed his mailbox. I force-choked a giant gate, which did scare away all the vape lords in the area. And then as a gift, I got a piece of paper. Or something that could suck up the souls of mankind. I escapaded through the city capturing souls like Pokemon. And when my work was complete, I did obviously use the payphone to trade their souls for money. This world was proving easier to live in than the normal one. As I left, my pockets filled, I stumbled across a convenience store. Or should I say, a catvenience store. So naturally, I bought dog food. I looked for other ways to spend my money, but there were no GameStops. Here I stopped Slenderman from hijacking a police car. I'm basically a police now. Also, as it appears, doors can be kinda hard to open up in Tokyo. I mean, just get a deadbolt or something. Turns out this was KK's house, and he was a mess. He did, however, possess not only me, but wardrobe food, and it wasn't Turkish Delight. After opening KK's secret chest, I discovered that he liked archery or something, so I stole his bow, which ended up in me getting sent to the Shadow Realm, no doubt by Hugh Neutron.
The Shadow Realm.
When things got weird, I shot stuff, I broke garbage cans, I even took the liberty of closing the sideways toilet, which I believe was the real magic all along, not whatever that was. Yeah, so I left that place. The next appropriate action was to grapple a flying monkey to the roof in order to suck up more souls. Wait a minute. How did they get up here? Well, things were certainly picking up as they started to send business women after me with their faces wrapped in newspaper. That's when you know it's getting serious. Here, I quietly mercy killed an anime. Silent as a mouse. So anyways, good news, I gave a dog some food today, and then he proceeded to dig straight up concrete to repay me. Dogs are the best. As I started to explore the city a bit more, I ran into the usual group of Dementors, which, by the way, have surprisingly easy souls to steal. I mean, all those dang wizards getting soul sucked when here I am, literally wrangling them up. Oh, and I learned the power of levitation, which was okay, I guess. After a while, fighting a bunch of headless schoolgirls was proving more difficult than anticipated, mostly because they know how to roundhouse kick. So I quickly ate the wardrobe food and I friggin' rocked their knee-high socks using nothing but the color green. And then I stole their souls. Immediately after that fiasco, I bumped into a bunch of orb-weaving newspaper nurses, so there was only one thing I could do. Turns out they were rather weak to having their faces pierced with ancient magic arrows crafted by a ghost hunter. Who knew? Then I found the Palantir Scene Stone, so I thought, hey, didn't work for Pippin, but maybe it'll work for me. So I touched it. Well, it kinda worked. Little by little, my avatar powers were activating, but like Spider-Man's dead Uncle Ben once said, with great perish in flame, give me your soul! Then I found a Tanuki, which was pretty much the greatest ever. I continued around the city with priorities in check. These dogs would not be left unfed. And sure, if they want to dig up cement to give me $700, I'm down, but I will always have more dog food. No! No! Curse this dog food gone world! So I responded calmly and appropriately with my emotions in check by purchasing $20,000 worth of dog food. Once again, the day was saved. For the dogs at least. Humanity is screwed. But that's okay, because you're such a good little boy. Well, with all the dogs fed, I found myself in an abandoned construction zone with another gate. So, wanting to clear away all that secondhand smoke, only to be interrupted by Edwardette scissor in hand, which was actually terrifying. I put the pain in propane. So anyways, I got the goddess pearl, which then enabled me to waterbend, so hey, I wasn't complaining. But my excitement was short-lived, as when I went through a random door, I was teleported to Saskatchewan. Of course, I was immediately tossed into some kind of Slenderman WWE cage fight, and I had no choice but to absolutely unleash my newfound avatar powers. I will admit, I was magnificent. Well, shortly after, I ended up in a hotel with the most realistic elevator I've ever ridden. So that was pretty neat. What wasn't so neat was, well, this mutated Michelin Man. So I absorbed him and took his powers. I encountered a Jawa without his cloak on, so I did the natural thing of banishing him. I have no idea where, just banished. I then learned the power of purple. But very quickly did I realize that I was wasting precious time right now fighting these guys. So I found a dog. Then I followed that dog, knowing dogs only lead you to happiness. But we were ambushed by Slendermen. They were trying to steal the dog's soul, which first of all confirms that dogs do indeed go to heaven, but now I knew how to properly use the purple. I would sell everyone's soul in this city if it meant this dog got its dog food. I then walked into a store clerk's worst nightmare. And then, unfortunately, I walked into everyone else's. Yep. Well, this was terrifying to say the least. I just started chucking everything I had at him. Whether it was effective or not, didn't matter. Eventually, I whittled down their stupid little bobbleheads and stole their souls. But of course, Doctor Strange. I was then forced to, once again, cage match with a bunch of friggin' Slendermen and headless school-going nerds. But fortunately, the color purple enabled me to banish them to... Wait a minute. If you banish someone from a banished area, where do they... Moving on, I ended up getting chased down the street by this weird lady. As I continued on my merry way, I bumped into some normal lady for once, who immediately ended up not being normal and teleported me to Cyberpunk. Things started great, but very quickly deteriorated into nothing but a nightmarish fever dream of running up an escalator the wrong way, sentient paper, and weird architectural choices. However, this didn't pose as too much of a challenge, as I just remembered that this was how our parents went to school every day. In other news, I found out where Mary Poppins was born. I found myself in an underground construction site again, but things seemed a bit more normal this... Oh wait, never mind. Okay, but seriously, look at this scrawny guy. I was gonna break this guy like a Oh. Well, things weren't looking too great here, but I was confident in my ability to shatter trucks and... I was staying rightly optimistic. I was now cautiously positive. Alright, faith was starting to dwindle a bit here. Everything sucked. Existence was pain. But you know what? Things were starting to look up here. I was getting better. I was starting to understand how to truly use my powers. Understand what my purpose here was. And as I slayed the creature, I knew what had to be done. I pet the cat because cats need loving too.